2FM. Game On's Fantasy Football.
And you're very welcome along to Gameweek 34. It is the Game On Fantasy Football podcast. And I'm joined by Phil McGrath from Fantasy Premier League Transfers.com. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning.
Yes, it is Gameweek 34. Brazilian inspired. Hello. How are you?
Good.
Okay, in good form. Good form.
Coffee.
Right, yes, lots of coffee. Right, it is Game Week 34. Before we launch into all of that talk, let us have a quick look back at Game Week 33. And it all started when Manchester City beat Southampton by 4-1. Nasri, Yaya Toure, Dzeko and Jovetic on the score sheet for Man City. Lambert got one back
You
for
said Man
Southampton.
United.
Did I?
Yes.
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah.
Man City. No, a proper team. Manchester City beating Southampton by 4-1. Aston Villa 1, Fulham 2. Holt got the goal for Aston Villa at the Holt end. It was made to happen eventually. It would.
First goal.
And, but it wasn't enough. Fulham beat Aston Villa 2-1.
Paul called it.
Maggot's first win there
Paul called
for Fulham. Is it too late? We shall see in the next couple of game weeks. Richardson and Rodalega. Haven't read that name out in a long time. Cardiff City 0, Crystal Palace 3. Gets worse and worse.
Bang goes my 0-0 draw once again. Every time I say 0-0 draw, someone scores 3 goals. This is great.
10 going down. And the goals from Crystal Palace, 2 for Punchin. Pretty good ones as well. Ledley got another one. Hull City 1-0 winners over Swansea. Boyd with the all-important winner. Rosenior with a magnificent assist.
They'll be buoyed by that.
Newcastle 0, Manchester United 4. Yes.
Yeah.
Haven't said that too
Newcastle
often
are
this
gone
season.
to pot, in fairness.
They have gone to pot, but Man United still put them away. Put them to the sword in fine style. 2 for Mata and 1 from Januzaj and from Hernandez. Chicharito. He exists.
Again, Paul was right. Rooney wouldn't play and they had to play Hernandez. Again, the man he was on the form last week.
Stop clock. You know yourself.
Well, listen, in fairness.
Twice a day.
Yeah.
Norwich 0, West Brom 1.
Very
Amalfi
surprised by that.
Tano with the goal for West Brom, who's popping up in all the right places these days.
Yeah, bye-bye Chris Hughton.
Chelsea 3, Stoke City 0. Lampard, Willian and Salah on the score sheet for Chelsea.
Very annoyed by that.
Yeah. It wasn't the best of games, but
No, not
Chelsea
so much
don't
that.
play in the best of games
It was Andre Schürrle I had a big eye on this week going into that one, but unfortunately he picked up a foot problem. So a little disappointed there.
Everton 3, Arsenal 0. Lukaku and Naismith and an own goal from Arteta.
Everton were quality.
They were very good. They had will and power and they deserved the win. West Ham 1, Liverpool 2. Again,
Controversy.
Yeah, there was controversial decisions.
It was a game of hide and seek.
I thought the best team won anyway. Gerrard got 2 goals.
2 penalties.
2 penalties, he sticks them away. Demel got on the score sheet for West Ham. And the last fixture of Game Week 33, last night, as we record this, Spurs hammered poor El Sunderland 5-1, despite the fact that their manager is getting the hook during the summer, apparently.
Best win percentage than any manager in the league for Spurs.
He's got to go. He's go.
He's not the name, you see. He's not, that's what it's about. The fans, while they're probably behind Sherwood to an extent, every time they lose, they're still going to point to the fact that he's not a top name manager, and that's always going to be the case.
He hasn't done himself any harm, his managerial career any harm.
No, I'd say he might be alright for a job after this.
In Norwich. Sigurdsson, Eriksson, Adebayor with 2 and Kane with the goals for Spurs. Cattermole.
His first ever goal for Sunderland, I think.
He's hasn't lost his spirit anyway. When the rest of the Sunderland team sometimes look like they've given up already.
Yeah, but come
Lee
here,
Cattermole is there screaming at
Sunderland
them all.
wouldn't have scored only for a momentous. Can I say cock up?
Yeah, you can say cock up. It's
I
a podcast. Yeah, nothing wrong.
Momentous cock up.
Yeah,
at the back
they
for
happen.
Spurs.
Momentous cock ups. So
yeah, really Sunderland are,
and not in a good way. Yes, they're not in a good way.
No.
Let's move on to Game Week 34. Yeah, I'm going to turn all the mics up now. We're going to be louder for the rest of the pod. All right. Too loud. Right, let's start with the focused games. Oh, where shall we start? A wise one, by the way. We have double game weeks this week. No game week at all for Manchester United and a whole. Double game weeks for Everton, Crystal Palace, Man City and Sunderland. So where shall we start? Will we start with the double game week teams?
That's well. This week we will start at the Stadium of Light because it's two of our doubles, Sunderland against Everton.
Delight.
Yeah. Sunderland's one draw in the last 6, 5 defeats. They've only scored 14 goals in 15 home games. They've conceded 23, 4 clean sheets at home, and they haven't won a game since game week 24, and they've conceded 15 goals in the last 6 games.
So all that points to
Everton,
who
6
stats
wins,
are much better.
6 wins in the last 6, 20 goals in 16 away games, conceded 18 goals during 16 away games, 5 clean sheets on the road. Last defeat was game week 27 at the Bridge against Chelsea, and you'd have to fancy them to keep going.
All right, for Everton fans. Now, just before we get away from Sunderland, apart from Adam Johnson, is there anyone else you might even have a look at?
No.
Grant. Everton are quite a strong squad, and hopefully people have been bringing in Everton players in for this game week if they've managed it right.
Sorry, just fiddling with my headphones.
That's all right. I've seen you do worse.
That's true. I suppose just a bit of housekeeping in terms of injuries and stuff like that. Leon Osman was subbed off against Arsenal with a cut above his eye, but according to Martinez this morning, for both the eye. According to Martinez this morning, he should be fine. Right. There shouldn't be any hassle. Everton had an open training session at Goodison this morning, which I believe was well attended. But there is some worry. I mean, I did allude to it last week and the week before as well. Martinez rotation policy. It looks like it's here to stay. I mean, yes, they bet Arsenal.
It's working for them, though. In all
well, that's it. They bet Arsenal last week. That's their 6th successive victory in a row, which I think is the first time since 2002 they've managed that.
Okay.
But he has been rotating somewhat. He had Lukaku on the right flank against Arsenal, which turned out very well, and with Naismith through the middle. They play it, and it worked. But it just kind of meant that we were, we're not sure. I mean, Morelos in there, Barkley's in there. Osman put in a great performance. Top the captain's performance from him against Arsenal. And I'm just worried that, the only one that seems to be guaranteed is Lukaku. I think Barkley, Osman, Naismith, and Morelos, they're all interchangeable. And don't forget then as well, you've got Gerard Deulofeu as well, who can also come in. So it is a little worry for me going into the double game like that.
You can't guarantee
Lukaku
who's going to
looks
start
to be the
2
only
games.
one that's set that would be alright for the 2, but we can't guarantee that you're going to see Barkley for 2 or Morelos for 2 or even Osman for 2. I certainly don't think we'll see Deulofeu for 2, but it is just worth bearing in mind. So in when it comes to that kind of thing, I think Lukaku has to be the most obvious Everton attacking player that you would have this week. I think at the back, certainly Coleman or Baines, depending on which way your budget is fixed or what way you fancy it. I think Howard also this week could be a good shout, because if we look at Everton's second game, they go up against Palace at Goodison Park. Now we know Palace look to be almost safe at this point, but their away goal record is terrible. They've only managed 9 goals away from home all season, and Everton,
Everton are going to score 4 against Crystal Palace. It's going to be 4-0.
Yeah, possibly so.
It's going to be 2-1 to Everton in Sunderland.
Well, Everton have managed 7 clean sheets at home this season. They've scored 32 goals at home, which is the 4th best home record in the league. And certainly looking towards the second game against Palace, you'd have to fancy Everton to do well. I think there is clean sheets not only in the second game at home to Palace, but travelling to Sunderland, because Sunderland have been very, very poor. I mean, at home they've only managed 14 goals all season. So that kind of tells you everything you really want to know.
Shocking.
Yeah, they're down and out. I don't care if they've game in hands. As far as I'm concerned, they're gone, and I wouldn't be too convinced to bring in anyone there. So certainly I'd have a look at Howard, Coleman, Barkley or Morelos, but like I said, there's no guarantee of game time there, and I think Lukaku up front in terms of Everton's attacking threat is a must have.
What about 2 Everton defenders?
I'm always reluctant to double up.
I know you are.
Now I could see my way clear to having a goalkeeper defender, but not necessarily having Coleman and Baines, say, or if Josh Stones it's not Josh Stones. What's his first name? Something Stones.
Listen, the guy's got stones. Doesn't matter. His name is John.
I knew we were with a J. or Distan Jagielka, I think, is still out. So I mean, yeah, you could look to, but I'm reluctant to double up. Obviously, when you've got three other teams playing twice as well, there's other defenders there to be considered. But I mean, yeah, Sunderland for me and this one don't really figure. It's all Everton, especially with I think they have the best of the double game week fixtures with Palace in the second game. Palace look to be all but safe, so I think that might take a bit of fire out of their fight. Yes,
we'll move on to our second focus game. I presume it's going to be a sort of a Liverpool-Man City game. I mean, it is the game that'll probably have a significant effect on the destination of the Premier League this season.
I think it will have the definitive say on where the league title goes this season. I think the winner of this game will go on to take the title. However, that means it'll be a draw, and things will go.
I thought we were making some progress.
Yeah,
all of a
no,
sudden.
It'll probably will be a draw. I think you can probably say it's going to be a score draw, because Liverpool don't keep clean sheets really,
and Man City
have scored 32 goals in 16 away games. So I mean, yeah, I mean, just go through the numbers, I suppose, as we normally do, looking at the focus games. Liverpool have racked up 48 goals in 15 home games, which is only bettered by Man City, who've scored 52 goals in the same amount of home games. But they've conceded 13 goals, which isn't bad. When you think about it, they're not keeping clean sheets, but they're not conceding loads.
Might surprise the hell out of us and go nil all.
Well, they've conceded 13 goals at home. They've kept 6 clean sheets. They're unbeaten since the 29th of December, when again it was Chelsea who bet them. And they've scored 20 goals in the last 6 games. So, listen, we know what Liverpool are capable of. I mean, really, we're kind of just running through.
If Liverpool win this game, they will go 7 points clear of Man City, and Man City will only have one game in hand after this game week. Oh no, then they get to play the second game, which is against Sunderland, Man City. So
you'll have to fancy City to win that. But I mean, looking at City, I suppose they've got 5 wins and 1 draw in their last 6. They've scored 32 and 16 away from home, as I said, so they're averaging 2 a game on the road this season. They have conceded 19, so they are conceding goals, but they've still picked up 5 clean sheets, I suppose.
All right, I'm interested to see how you're going to approach this. Let's start with the home team, Liverpool.
It's very difficult to recommend people to invest in Liverpool this week. I wouldn't necessarily be going out and putting money into Liverpool.
No.
But I think at this stage, everyone has the Liverpool players. So, I mean, listen, I made a case weeks back for Steven Gerrard. I was laughed out of the studio here.
You were.
I was.
You were.
He's got 6 goals and 3 assists in 9 games.
I bought him. That's how wrong I was.
I still think... I know there are penalties at this stage. I think Liverpool have had more penalties than
it's the way they play.
Than a Copper's notebook.
It's the way they play.
So, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily be looking to invest in Liverpool, but certainly if I had the likes of Gerrard or Henderson or certainly Suarez or Sturridge, you're going to play him, There's no doubt about it. They will play.
Right, so normal contenders for Liverpool. They've only the one game week this week. But
City are a little bit more interesting.
Yes.
Because we know that Pellegrini is going to feel the strongest side available to him going for this one. Now, certainly the second game of the double, we might see some changes. But, I mean, looking at it, picked up a knock against Southampton. Now, it is just a knock. Apparently, by all reports, he will be fine and okay. In fact, I think there was a quote there somewhere I saw. If I can find it, in relation to Yaya.
He'll be fine and okay.
Yeah, but Aguero was also due back. I mean, Pellegrini said last week, we hope 1 week more working, he will be perfect to play against Liverpool. Now, that's a direct quote from Pellegrini that he made last week about Aguero. So Aguero could come back. But when you look at the way Dzeko's been playing, he's been getting goals and getting points. And you just have to wonder that with Aguero having been laid off for so long,
might be an impact sub.
Even if he is fit, will he start? I mean, Dzeko has 6 goals in 4 appearances and 2 assists. 6 goals and 2 assists in 4 appearances. I can count. That's not a bad return, in fairness to him. You can't argue with it. So I just wonder whether Pellegrini will go, you know what, let's leave him in. He's in form. Let's ease Aguero back into it. We can bring him off the bench if we need a goal against Liverpool, and then we have a second game week against Sunderland where we would fancy that even a 75% fit Aguero was still going to cause Sunderland problems. So that's the trouble. But I mean, for me, I think you can look to City. If I had a City defender, I'd play them. So I have Zabaleta. I'm going to play him. I don't necessarily think you're going to get a clean sheet in the first game week, but you might pick up a cheeky assist or even a goal. You never know. But certainly the second game week against Sunderland, I would fancy City for the clean sheet on the road. or at home. Sorry, they're at home against Sunderland in the second game. Sorry, so certainly I'll be looking to them for a clean sheet at home. They've 8 already this season, and they've only conceded 10 goals at home as well, City. So against Sunderland, you'd have to fancy City to do well. Yeah, for me is still the one to have above Silva, but certainly if your budget doesn't allow you to get Silva in, or to get Yaya in, should I say, certainly I'd have a look and bring in Silva. There's been some questions on Lifetime recently about whether Nasri is worth
He's
looking
showing
at
a bit
and
of form.
bringing in. He is, and Silva, as I've said before, is a streaky player. We know that he can go on the runs, and you mightn't see anything from him from weeks. I mean, Nasri got a goal last week against,
And a bonus of 3.
yeah, against Southampton. But outside of that, that's the only goal he's scored since, oh God, we've scrolled way back to Gameweek 13. Now, he's got 3 assists in his last 4 games, and they were against Fulham and 2 against United at Old Trafford. But for me, I think realistically it's Yaya or it's Silva. Like I said, I know where I'm going. I'm going to keep with Yaya because of his set piece potential, and even at that, even the strike against United 20 yards out, he can ping them in from anywhere. And then the dilemma is Aguero or Zeko. There'll be a few people who've been waiting on Aguero to come back. I'm going to keep Zeko. I'm not going to bring Aguero in.
Me neither.
And I'm going to...
Me neither, sorry.
I'm going to hope that we see Zeko for both. But let's not forget as well, the last time City had a double, Zeko didn't play the first game, but did well in the second game. The second game was against United, actually did well and scored a couple of goals against United, if I remember correctly. So these are the gambles we're playing with. But yeah, that's the second game week against Sunderland. You'd have to fancy your City defenders, and the likes of Yaya or Silva as well.
Talking about the City defenders for a second, you always say Zabaleta is the biggest chance of playing. Demichelis you don't rate at all.
Well, I mean, I'm looking to get as much out of my defenders as I can, so it's the wing backs really. So you're kind of looking at Zabaleta, Clichy or Kolarov, but Clichy and Kolarov have had the game time rotated significantly over the course of the season. So I mean, for me, Zabaleta is the only reliable one. Unfortunately, that means he is the most expensive, but that's why. But he still gets forward, he still gets attacking points as well. At 6.2 million he is now, but he's 5 assists so far this season. Now, we haven't seen anything from him in a while, so I'd be hopeful that we might see another 1, maybe 2 out of him by the end of the season. But for me, yeah, he's going to be the one, because you're unsure whether you're going to see Clichy or Kolarov play at left back, whereas we know Zabaleta is going to start at right back.
Alright, and the next of our focus games?
The next one up is we'll have to have a look at Palace.
Crystal Palace and Aston Villa?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to go for Arsenal West Ham, but okay, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa.
No, and the reason I'm not is because I wouldn't necessarily be recommending people pump money into Arsenal.
Oh, I would. This week? Oh yeah, after that?
No.
Oh yeah. They're going to be beaten all week. They'll be birch whipped. Sold to their feet. Bamboos driven under the nails. Oh yeah.
Against West Ham? West Ham still aren't safe?
Down to the torture chamber.
No.
Send them back out. They still have the little chafing in the back. They're sent out to that pitch.
You can get cream for that.
I know.
But anyway.
Oh, I know.
Oh, young man. No, I'd have a look at Palace and Villa. It's the first game of Palace's double. The second one, they play Everton at Goodison. But there could be value to be had, especially in the first game. And to be honest, it's more so in the first game. Palace 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses in their last 6. 14 goals in 16 home games, conceded 18 goals with 6 clean sheets, and they've got 3 clean sheets in the last 6 games.
So they'll be looking at this game going, there's a fair chance we're going to lose away in Goodison Park in the second game. We've got to get some points on the board here.
That'll put them up to 37 points, a win against Villa, and I think that's...
Yeah. Now, Villa are just slightly above them on the table, only on goal difference.
Yep.
So, again, these are 2 clubs who really need that 3 points because they're not safe yet.
No, neither of them are. But they're
relatively safe, but they're not safe.
To be honest with you, I'd say that I think if neither of those 2 teams picked up points, I think they'd be all right. Because I can't see
possibly
Norwich or West Brom doing enough.
Yeah, I mean, you could be talking about 34 points to be safe.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, there's what, 6 teams beneath them. I can't see those 6 teams because they have to play each other, those 6 teams as well. I think some of them do.
Yeah.
So I can't see them being dragged into it. So I would say the way the fixtures have come together and everything else, chances are they are probably safe even at this point.
Anyway, my point is they can't be guaranteed that. They don't know that. So they have to. Both teams have to use this game and go out for 3 points. They have to. They have to approach this game like that because they're not going to get too many other easier chances this season.
No, and certainly from Palace's point of view, I think a home game against Villa, especially now, probably gives them the best chance to say, yep, that's it, we're safe.
All right, there's a couple of players here that let's quick. The first player we should talk about is the goalkeeper, Speroni.
Yeah,
He's one of the best players.
I foolishly had him as my bench goalkeeper last week. I thought Cardiff might have had a better chance of a clean sheet being at home, but yeah.
Yes.
What do I know?
So Speroni, if you're looking for a second keeper, he's 4.7 million. Yeah. Then at the back, I mean,
Joe Ward is 4.4.
Yeah, it's 4.4. He's in flying form. Delaney 4.4 as well. Mariappa 3.9.
The way again, Ward is probably he's nailed on. The others have been a bit rotated and wishy-washy. Woozy.
All right, and then in midfield, there's 2.5 players here. There's 2 real players.
For me, there's one.
There's Jason Punchin and there's Ledley.
For me, it's Punchin.
Yeah.
Now, I know he's only got 5 goals all season. Okay, 2 of those came last week. You could argue that it's a bandwagon.
Yeah.
Just for Paul. But he is playing well. So that's what it's about. It's about forming players at the right time. I think that, you've got to kind of have a look. And it's not just the way Palace have been playing. It's also the way Villa have been playing. Because Villa haven't been great. I mean, if you look at it, right, they've 2 wins and 4 losses in the last 6. They've only managed 16 goals away from home all season, and they've conceded 20. Now, they're actually, their record away from home isn't too bad. They've 5 clean sheets away from home, which isn't that bad for them. But when you look at their squad, Delph, El Amadi, Agbonlahor are all doubts going into this one. Benteke's out after his Achilles injury, and Kozak has a broken leg, as we already know, so he's not going to be around. That's, there's some significant players to be missing or likely to be missing going into the game week. So you would have to worry that possibly Villa aren't really going to be at it. Now, I know Grant Holt came out yesterday or the day before, and he's determined to do his best in Benteke's absence. The usual PR line, that they'll come out with. This is my chance, and I'm going to show the fans that I'm the greatest, and la 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 la. But I mean, realistically, Villa have only won 4 games away from home all season. And that for me is going to probably tell you all you need to know. So I would be looking to
goals have been a problem.
They have, so I will be looking towards Palace for this one. I think a clean sheet against Villa is certainly the way to go. But like I said, the second game against Everton, you can't really expect too much going to Goodison Park the way the Toffees are playing. So anything you pick up there is probably a bonus.
All right. There are 3 focus games. We are going to look at best of the rest. The what? Say the word. Best of the rest.
That's what he said.
Next. Fulham down to Norwich. Quick conversation.
Who is this guy?
And next, Southam.
No. We're not getting off that one that easy. Who is this guy?
Which guy?
This guy.
Did you go?
No.
Who?
The guy at Norwich.
The guy at Norwich?
Yeah.
Oh, the manager.
Who is he?
The new manager. The new manager is a guy who has been there. He's a career player. He had a great playing career for Norwich. He never missed a penalty in his playing career for Norwich, I believe. He was there, and I'll give you a bit of background. He was there when Lambert was a manager there. He was part of the setup. Now, he had played for Norwich, and he'd sort of been in the club as a coach. When Lambert left Norwich for Aston Villa, he stayed, furthering his endearment into the hearts of both the administrators and the fans of the club. He is a club hero. He's done co-commentary for local BBC Norfolk for years before he took up his current coaching role. How do you know this? Because I'm good. That's how. Anyway.
And that makes him a good manager, better than Chris Hughton.
Well,
sorry.
The chairman at Norwich, who is apparently a shrewd football man, he's not one of these fly-by-nights football types. He's been in the game for a while. He said about this man that this man
Should we
will
give this man
be...
a name?
Yes.
Neil Adams.
This man, Neil Adams, will be a proper manager, a really good contender as a really, really top-class manager in a couple of years. He said that a few years ago. He's obviously had it in the back of his mind that Neil Adams...
I just think it's a bit silly.
Maybe he considered bringing Neil Adams in before he brought in Houghton, and he said, no, I'll leave him down there for another few years. I'll give Chris...
Is he coaching the under-18s or something, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's been managing the whole youth system there. Anyway, he's obviously, people believe in him. He's a club hero. Maybe it's just to get them over the line.
Yeah,
Maybe it's a long-term
they're 5 points.
appointment.
They're 5 points ahead of Fulham. Fulham are in 18th, and they play Fulham this weekend.
So if they do Fulham this weekend, or even hold Fulham to a draw,
they need to beat Fulham, because after that they play Liverpool, United, Chelsea and Arsenal.
yeah, this is Norwich's last. This is Norwich's last
game of the season, really. But I don't understand. The mind boggles as to why you would change your manager with 5 games to go when really you've only got 1 game to go.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because you change your manager and there's a bit of a bounce. It happens. It happens. It does happen.
Okay.
But if you do your bounce, if you change your manager too early, you get the bounce to the wrong time. Possibly this is the wrong time given the next 4 games they have. Well, the next 3 after this one.
Yeah, listen, let's be honest about this. From a fantasy point of view, there's probably not too much worth investing in between Fulham and Norwich, because you're not going to bring a Norwich player in for 1 week, because I wouldn't be recommending they're going to do a whole lot for the last 4 weeks.
And you're going to bring in a Fulham player?
No, normally this is Paul. If Paul was here, he would disagree with me completely and say that this is where you want to be getting the teams in the bottom in, because they'll have a lot to play for. And we've seen it time and time again.
All right,
so
in the interest of representing Paul here, right? You look at the Fulham team, you look at the form. I mean, since Maggott's come in, they only had the 1 win, but they have looked stable. They have looked like they know what they're doing. Djiga, he's in good form. 4.9. If you're looking for that squad midfielder, he's capable of doing it. Ashkan Djiga. You got
but he doesn't play 90 minutes, so you're not going to get this is a prerequisite for any player coming into your side, regardless of whether they're going to sit in your bench. You must get 90 minutes. So from that point of view, if you're looking for someone who is going to get you 90 minutes and has a chance of doing something, it's probably Lewis Holtby.
6.2. He's still a little bit expensive for my liking.
Listen, this is the point I'm making.
Yeah. All right.
And you're not going to bring in Bent or Radiega.
No, for sure. For sure.
For sure.
For sure.
And there's not, like I said, no.
Yeah. No, there's not a whole lot.
Sorry. That's why.
Kieran Richardson isn't even a...
Great strike by Richardson, actually. That was a good goal.
It was a good goal.
Once in a blue moon.
Right. Let's move on. Southampton, Cardiff City. I feel like we've been here before.
Yeah, listen, I think you'd have to have a look at Southampton for a clean sheet. There was a lot of disappointment, I think, that they didn't do more against...
Chelsea?
Yeah.
Man City?
Man City. Sorry, I'm just reading.
Yes.
Jay Rodriguez lasted less than a half an hour in that loss against City before being stretched off, and it looked serious as well. And Pochettino came out after the game and says it looks like he could be out for the remainder of the season. Now, Boric and Ramirez also missed that match at the Etihad. Boric had a minor back problem, we're told, and Ramirez with an ankle knock. I'm not too worried about Ramirez. I am worried that Rodriguez is now out for the season. We'll be waiting on clarification of that, and hopefully Boric though should be back this weekend, and certainly he could be one to consider for a clean sheet if he's back. But I'd have a look, and certainly at my Southampton defender, maybe.
What about Cazzaniga for the substitute goalkeeper, Paolo Cazzaniga?
Nah, listen, he's not going to, as soon as Boric is back, and it's only a minor problem, I'd expect Boric to be back. No, certainly if we hear more that he's going to be out any longer than this week, maybe he's worth having a look at. I mean, they've got, after this game, they play Villa away, Everton at home, Swansea away, United at home. So, I mean, Villa, Everton, Swansea after these, yeah, you could argue you could pick up some points there.
Have you got Adam Lallana in your squad?
I have got Adam Lallana.
Are you thinking about bringing anyone else in this week?
No, not really. No, for me, there's not a whole lot. Adam Lallana is where it's at for me in terms of the this Southampton midfield.
What about Lambert, given the fact that he's now going to be up front on his own,
Okay, let me ask you this question. Would you have Lambert in this week instead of Romelu Lukaku?
If I needed 1.7 extra, possibly.
Would you have him in ahead of Zeko?
No.
Would you have him in again ahead of Sturridge?
No.
Suarez?
No.
Aguero?
Will he play?
Sorry, that's my point. The point is, there's the strikers that are playing this week with doubles and everything else. There's no way Ricky Lambert's making it into anyone's squad.
And Wayne Rooney, by the way, has trained with the Manchester United squad today, which is Tuesday.
Yeah, I seen
full
yeah,
part.
he apparently took part. Now, obviously, United don't play this weekend, but that's good news for Champions League.
Yeah, we can keep an eye on them this week in Champions League action, and I wonder will there be any other injury returns ahead of that Champions League game. Watch that space. Right, let us move on from Southampton and Cardiff City. We didn't go near Cardiff City.
No, unfortunately for Ollie, I think they're out.
Sheeran.
I think that's it as well. I think they're done.
And
the race is run.
Delighted for Chairman Tan. Got exactly what he needed, which was relegation.
They do say you get in life, you get what you deserve in life. So
they do say that, but they're usually wrong. In this case, though, they're absolutely right. Sunderland and Everton. No, we've done that. Stoke City, Newcastle was the one I was trying to find.
Yeah, no, Newcastle for me have gone to pot, as I said,
and quite the opposite. Stoke City have not only not gone to pot, but they've come bubbling to the surface.
Yeah,
did you like that?
I like that very much. Yeah, listen, I think Stoke clean sheet this week. One man I had in my squad earlier in the season, but then his game time severely suffered, was Mark Wilson. But he now looks to be getting a game once again, and I'd say if you were looking for a cheap defender to bring in this week, maybe he's the man to do the job for you. Yeah, at that price you can't really argue with it. Let's be honest about it, he's not likely to get you a load of goals or assists or anything, but just clean sheet wise you could have a look at him this season. As I said, he kind of started the first 6 weeks and then kind of fell away. He played bit parts throughout the season, but he's played the last 7 or 8 games in a row now, so certainly with Newcastle coming to town, you would fancy him to do well, because Newcastle look to be suffering not only without Remy, but Sissoko was now out, and Alan Pardew was still banned. And listen, Newcastle are safe anyway. There's no fear of them getting relegated. So
Stephen Ireland might be back 4.4.
For Stoke, no. Listen, again, the double weight game week dictates, and there's other players in better form. I think you're better off just steering clear there. But certainly a Stoke clean sheet would be worth a look.
All right.
And Newcastle are unfortunately ones to avoid.
West Brom and Spurs. Interesting.
Yeah.
West Brom they're equal on points with Norwich on 32 points. So they're
West
both
Brom aren't
5
safe.
points clear of 18th place, which is Fulham on 27.
Yeah. There's nothing really that I'm looking at in terms of West Brom to bring in. If you look, I think really West Brom probably are 1 win away from safety. But they've got Tottenham this week, City next week. Then they've got West Ham. Okay, so that's a game maybe. I think if you look at the games they've left, they're going to target certain games. I think West Ham in game week 36. They have a double in game week 37. One of those is against Arsenal, the other against fellow strugglers Sunderland. And then Stoke. Stoke are safe. And they certainly will be come game week 38. That could go down to that could be the game, but there's certainly the West Ham, Sunderland and Stoke games will be ones they'll have their eye on for points. I don't expect them to get much out of the game against Spurs, and I would actually be looking towards Spurs. Adebayor's goal scoring record on the road is better than it is at home so far this season. If
Did
my
you see
memory
that lovely
serves me
picture
correct,
of him? He gives a
with
salute
Sherwood
to
and Ferdinand.
yeah.
I've seen that. All right,
It was nice picture.
I brought Ericsson in.
Yes,
last
I saw that.
weekend as a sneaky outside shout.
I saw that sneak. Never mentioned it on the pod last week. It was one for himself.
Do you know what? It was one that I was just having a look around Saturday morning while I was doing live time, and Tottenham's fixtures caught me.
Don't believe him for a second.
Tottenham's fixtures caught me.
Did they catch you, did they?
Well, they played
the arms.
Well, I just kind of seen the fixtures. I mean, they played Sunderland last night. Then it was West Brom, Fulham, Stoke, West Ham, and Villa.
Happy days.
It's a pretty good run in.
So we're selling Zeko and we're buying Adebayor. Good move. Well done. Well done.
Not necessarily this week, but I think Adebayor could be one to keep an eye on this week. I think Ericsson proved midweek, or last night should I say, that he's certainly capable of producing the goods, 2 assists and a goal, and you could argue he possibly could have had more if Spurs weren't so wasteful. Young Harry Kane missed a chance or two that Ericsson put on a play for him. So yeah, I'd have a look at Ericsson and Adebayor. I still don't have much faith really in the Tottenham defence. I thought maybe we could have seen a clean sheet from them on Monday night, but after that momentous cock up at the back,
yes.
That's kind of put me right off.
Wasn't impressive at all.
No.
Right, in the middle of the park, obviously apart from Ericsson, who is 6.6. There's no one really else there, but up front, you're right. Adebayor does look interesting, and he's in flying form as well.
Yeah,
after those couple of goals.
It's an interesting prospect. I mean, can you make cases for anyone else?
No,
nah, not really. For me, I think you're gonna stick with those.
Yeah, Ericsson or Adebayor. I mean, after this week, I'm and I'm quite open about. I'm not a sneak like other people on the pod or in life, but I am probably after the double game week going to get rid of Morales in the middle of the park, and I'm probably going to bring in Ericsson. I'm going to bring back Ericsson.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just that their fixtures are good, and they're going to mount a late charge possibly on Everton, and they're still holding out some hope of catching Arsenal. But
will they stay clear of Manchester United?
Yeah, it's
flying Manchester United.
I think they could be more looking behind them than in front of them, to be honest. But yeah.
All right, let's keep going on. Swansea and Chelsea. Tough game for Swansea. They look good for a couple of weeks. Swansea. Mishu came back. They've dropped off a bit.
Yeah, I'm
not good on the road, but this
Chelsea is
a home game.
Chelsea, yeah. Can Chelsea lose 3 away games in Europe? I don't know. Hazard got 32 minutes against Stoke.
Is he going to sell him?
Am I going to sell him?
No. Is Jose Mourinho going to sell him in the summer?
Do you know what? I'm actually not tipping any Chelsea players this week against Swansea, and that's not to say that they won't do something, but yeah, I think Salah could be one very interesting prospect next year for us to consider. But at this point, no, I'm not touching it really this week. I'll stay away from Chelsea.
I've one Chelsea player in my squad at the moment, and that's Azpi. As Jose calls him.
Yeah, listen, there's a chance of a clean sheet there, all right, against Swansea.
Do you know who the most informed Chelsea midfielder is at the moment, right now?
It's either Schürrle or Hazard. Or Schürrle or Salah.
You'll be very surprised.
Salah's down as a striker, isn't
You'll be very surprised to find out that it's Nemanja Matic.
Matic?
With 21
he's been
points
picking up a
in
couple
3
of
games.
assists, hasn't he?
Yeah. So there's one. 21 points, I think, in the last 3 games.
Three
Nemanja.
assists in 3 games.
There's one, isn't it?
That's 6 million.
Interesting.
6 million. Yeah.
And
not this week though, but yeah.
Yeah. Etu at the whole packet. He is expected back next week, although he may be rushed forward into this game. But I don't think so.
I mean, bar Liverpool in game week 36, Chelsea's run in is pretty good as well. Swansea this week, Sunderland next week, then it's Liverpool, then Norwich, then Cardiff.
Matic at 6. I'm impressed with that actually myself.
That could be one to consider.
That is an
but
interesting one.
as I said, certainly not this week. And just Schürrle has a 75% chance of playing with a foot injury that unfortunately he picked up, but he should be all right. And I was very disappointed because he was my sneaky outside show for a captain last week.
Last of the best of the rest is Arsenal at home to West Ham, and it is at the Emirates. I've already predicted that Arsene Wenger's going to have the lads in deep session this week. I don't know what sort of a session it's going to be, but it'll be designed to get results. Results, I tell you.
No. You could look at Arsenal for a clean sheet. I mean, they've got 9 clean sheets at home this season. They've only conceded 10 goals at home all year. And West Ham, how many goals have West Ham scored away from home this season? It's not that many. I don't have the number to hand. I don't think it's a great amount. But I've just.
Do I have any Arsenal players? I have Chesney in goal, and I'm thinking of getting rid of him.
Yeah, you maybe could look at him. I mean, the worrying thing. I mean, a lot of people are kind of looking to see was Ramsey going to come back in now, but there's an argument to be made that Wenger can't afford time to let Ramsey kind of feel his way back into the side. After the defeat at Goodison, they still have fixtures to kind of go ahead and beat Everton in the race for fourth. Giroud has scored 2 of his last 10. Scored in 2 of his last 10. Santi Cazorla has netted in 3. 3 of his appearances all season. It's just, I don't know. I'm not really fancying. I don't know. Arsenal for me, I think there's better value, there's better players at the moment. They're just really right off it, and yeah, I'm staying away. But I maybe a clean sheet for Arsenal this week, but and West Ham, no, again the way the doubles going and everything else, and West Ham away from home. And, how many goals? I was looking at how many goals West Ham had scored away from home, and I completely got sidetracked. Let me just check this, because unless it's a ridiculous amount, which I'm fairly sure it's not, I wouldn't be even looking at West Ham at all. Yeah, they've only managed 14 goals away from home all season, which is the 4th worst record in the league.
Not good. So that is best of the rest. You happy with that?
My brain hurts.
We didn't go to West Ham.
No,
Andy Carroll?
No, but again,
if Paul was here,
whose place is he going to take this week? This is the point. The Bulls.
Doesn't matter. If Paul was here, he would say, and
yeah, but if my aunt had.
Listen, Uncle Jane, right? There's a reason we call him Uncle Jane. Anyway.
No, I know if Paul was here, there might be a case made for it.
He might have even finished that sentence.
But I don't think. I can't see whose place they're going to take this week. With the same kind of thought process as we had when we spoke about Lambert.
Yes. All right. Let's move on.
I'm done. I'm out.
That's best of the rest. Next up, it's Captain's Picks. So, Captain's Picks. I think this is going to be easier than it looks like. It's an Everton or a Man City player, isn't it, really?
Yeah, for me, it kind of has to be. I think it's Lukaku. Do you know what? Every time I tip Lukaku to get the armband, he does nothing. So, stay away from Lukaku. No, I have to. I can't not back him. It's very, very difficult. But yeah, I think Lukaku with the double. It has to be a double game week player first and foremost. So you're looking at City or you're looking at Everton realistically, because you're not going to put the armband on a Palace or a Sunderland player. So it's Lukaku, it's Yaya. And I can't even say give it to a City striker, because I don't know if Aguero and Zeko are going to rotate. Is Negredo going to come in? It's just too much messing. And the only other way you're looking at it is an Everton defender, which I'm always against putting the armband on a defender. Now, Paul has done it a couple of times and it hasn't really worked out for him, so that's going to even prove my theory more. But I will be kind of looking Lukaku, Yaya are probably the two main contenders. Outside of that, if I had to pick a player who wasn't playing in a double game week for the armband this week, it's tough. It's very, very tough. I think you'd probably make a case for Suarez or Sturridge, because I think Liverpool will score goals against City. Yeah.
I'm thinking Silva or Zeko.
See, I'm not sure you're going to get the two of them over, and really you'd want both of them to play twice.
Silva will play twice. Silva or Morales?
Well, I've got Yaya, so I'd have to go Yaya. But yeah, I suppose same principle.
Yeah, and I don't have Lukaku.
Morales isn't guaranteed to play twice.
No, he's not, because we've had that one before.
He's not.
No, but there's none. We've had this conversation. Yeah. There's no Everton midfielder, apart from probably Barry or McCarthy, that are they're too defensive to get points. Yeah.
So it's realistically, Lukaku, Yaya are probably the main contenders that we're going to see this week from most people.
I'm going to go with Silva and Zeko.
If Aguero's not back, I think if we find out close to the weekend that Aguero isn't going to be back, Zeko comes into a big stud.
All right, but if he's not back for the first one, he might be back for the second one. So
I think we'll know. I think we'll know before the first one whether we're expected to see Aguero at all.
All right,
so keep an eye.
Are there any other captains' shouts? I mean, you could make a case on a normal game week for, if you believe that Arsenal were going to beat West Ham at home, you could make a case for an Arsenal player.
Well, do you honestly think that one Arsenal player can score more points than an Everton or a City player that we've just mentioned who are playing twice?
And I'm going to throw you another one. I'm going to keep going with the sneaky shouts.
Go on, I know where you're going.
Spurs are away to West Brom. If you have Adebayor, you'd have to consider him.
Yeah.
You know? And the same with Eriksen.
But it's very, very difficult to not captain a double game week player.
Yeah, no, it is.
That's the problem.
It is. Well, I'm going to captain the double game.
Everyone's going to captain, let's be honest about it. So really, for me, like I said, it's Lukaku or Yaya or Silva if you have him. And if Aguero's not back, Zeko comes into the reckoning because there's a chance he might play twice.
Yeah, and if Crystal Palace beat Everton and Aston Villa and Jason Punchin is the leading player in the dream team, then we won't have mentioned him. And this doesn't count. Right, that is Captain's Picks. And only time to tell you about some good stuff. The good stuff is that I'm going on holidays. But don't worry, the pod will continue. We have taken a bit of a risk, though. As manager of the pod, we're going to play an untested partnership at the centre of the Game On Fantasy Football podcast. But I think we leave you in good hands. I'll introduce you to next week's presenter, Phil McGrath. How are you feeling?
Ooh, the step up! I've been waiting for the phone call. This must be like what your man at Norwich felt like, just waiting in the wings, waiting for the call.
Neil,
yeah,
as we call him.
Yeah,
all right.
I'm out. I'm in. Yeah, Andrew is departing for 2 weeks, so I will be stepping into the breach along with Mishore Caffrey, who will be with us next week and the week after. And
then I'll be back.
Andrew will be back, and we'll finish off the season in style.
In super style. Right, this Saturday, before all that happens, before the deadline is shut down at 11:30 for the previous hour, Phil McGrath will be on the Twitter machine at Fantasy Prem Tips, giving all the last minute advice, tips, rumours, team news, all that stuff, all that really good stuff to make your last minute decisions, and also all the latest news on who'll be playing and captain's picks and all that vital stuff. And
certainly, if anyone wants to get in touch in the meantime, they don't have to wait till lifetime. They can get us at Fantasy Prem Tips in the meantime. That's no problem. Or if you even wanted to drop me a line, it's at Phil McGrath with the number 2.
And why are you talking like this?
I don't know.
It's a bit weird. He doesn't type like that, so if you do send him an email, he'll type back to you in a completely normal way. Right. By the way, congratulations to me again. I did kick your ass again
You
for
bet
the
me, you
second
didn't
week
beat
in a
Paul.
row.
You bet me, you didn't beat Paul.
Kick your ass.
Yeah.
Let's
league?
get a dictionary in here, please, team.
How's that league position working out for you?
7th is all right. Sam, I believe, is it Manchester United in 7th place? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, 7th place. So I'm mirroring my heroes. And 7th place in our league is also known as one off the bottom. Right, that is all we have time for this game week. That was game week 34. Phil and Paul will be back with game week 35 next week. Until
Enjoy
then,
your holiday.
Ole, ole, ole. Taste that cocktail already.
Bring us back a rock, will you?
Oh yeah.